channel. My name is Tolu. I'm a Christian dating coach and I specialize in showing single Christian women how to go from single to married in a year. Now, the Wife in Waiting program is open. This is my 12-month group coaching program that shows you how to get into the right relationship so you can get married. You will learn how to meet and get men to commit to you in a 90-day timeline so that you are on track for marriage within 6 months. This program has helped women just like you, single Christian women that are divorced, that are new to dating, that have never been in a healthy relationship, to get into committed relationships in 6 months and married in a year. In the first 90 days in Wife in Waiting, you will learn the skills that have kept you. You will learn how to break you will learn how to break the patterns that have kept you single for the last 3+ years in the first 3 months of the program. So make sure to click the link in my bio and first tab to apply. Our application process is very simple. Once you apply, I review your application. If you're the right fit, we'll have a chat. I'll welcome you into the program and we can get started with making sure over the next 6 months you are closer and in position to come in contact with your husband and date him, instead of repeating the cycle you've done for the last 5-10 years. Okay. So today I wanted to talk about dating men that aren't going to marry you, because I've been going through applications in the Wife in Waiting program and I've just been having conversations with a lot of you about your dating patterns and your dating experiences with men and the kind of men you're dating. Some of you are in relationships that aren't moving forward. Some of you are engaged, but your engagements are not moving forward. You are talking to men that aren't interested in you. And I just realized that it's really important for you to understand a couple of principles to help make sure that you are actually dating to get married, because a lot of you are dating to actually stay single. And I want to say that again, a lot of you are dating to stay single and you think it's getting you closer to marriage, but what is actually happening is you're repeating dating patterns that are going to keep you single for another 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Okay, and I'm going to break this down so that you understand it. If you have any questions for me and you're watching this live, drop it in the question box and I'll be glad to answer you. So first thing is, you're dating men that don't want to marry you. So that's why I called this live this topic. So what do I mean men that don't want to marry you? I'm talking about men that don't mind dating you for years, that don't mind talking to you for months, that don't even mind getting into a relationship with you, but do not have any desire to make you their wives. Okay, and that kind of man is very dangerous, and I'll tell you why. Because if you don't know how to identify him, you are going to spend at least the next 3 to 6 months in the wrong relationship that is going to keep you 3 to 6 months away from your husband. Because if you're dating the wrong man, if you're spending time with the wrong man, if you're getting into a relationship with the wrong man, it just means you are not facing the direction of marriage. So what you really want to ask yourself is, the men that you are currently dating, are you actually making progress in terms of the conversations you're having, the way in which both of you are connecting? What I mean by connection is he including you more in his life? Is he showing more interest in what your activities are? Is he showing that he is interested in building on your intimacy by getting to know your values, what's important to you to achieve in the next few months? Is he being intentional about creating space for you both to build your bond? Because if he's not doing any of these things, he doesn't even see you in his near future. That's something you should realize. And another important point to make here is, as a Christian woman that is dating to get married, you really want to partner with the Holy Spirit through this process. That's why inside the Wife in Waiting program, we teach our clients how to date practically and prayerfully, because unfortunately, this isn't taught enough in Christian spaces. They just kind of focus on showing you how to pray, showing you how to declare, showing you how to stand in faith and agreement, but they don't teach how to apply this practically to, what does that look like when I'm talking to a man? What does that look like when I'm talking to someone that God approves of? How do I know God doesn't approve? What does it look like when I'm talking to a man that the Holy Spirit is leading me to ask certain questions? Unfortunately, I haven't seen this covered in conventional Christian spaces, which is why inside the Wife in Waiting program, we provide a very clear dating curriculum that shows our clients how to develop their relationship relationship with the Lord, how to be able to understand when the Holy Spirit is speaking to them, and how to be able to utilize their relationship with the Holy Spirit to meet and date men they can actually marry. In fact, I just recall one of my clients, she had tried dating apps close to 50 times, like she said, and she was led by the Holy Spirit, like four months into Wife in Waiting, to try the dating app again after being exposed to our curriculum, our coaching, and she met her now boyfriend within 24 hours. So it's important for you to understand how to date as a Christian woman in partnership with the Holy Spirit. If not, you are going to constantly be talking to men that are just going to be spending your time but not actually seeing any results from that. And the interesting thing is, when you involve the Holy Spirit, you move so much faster. He may tell you, ask him when was his last relationship. So what's interesting about the Holy Spirit is he may even tell you to ask questions you yourself did not think about. Like nobody could have told you to ask that man that question. And he doesn't only speak in terms of telling you to ask questions, he also shows you how to discern through observation. So what I mean by that is, maybe it's in the way the man answered the question, or in the way he acted, or in what he did, or in just being able to see his tone. The Holy Spirit has a way of highlighting certain things that your human eyes will not see. But because you are open to a partnership with him and you're spiritually sensitive, you will pick it up. So what we do with our clients in Wife in Waiting is also teach them through our curriculum how to understand how God speaks and how to be able to identify their own gifting in relationship with the Lord, so that when they are dating, they are able to hear God faster. I remember another client of mine was saying how, because I tell my clients to take any man you're talking to, just take him to the Lord. Immediately you start talking to him. It's a principle I share with my clients, and I've mentioned it here to you guys a couple of times. It is very effective. So she was sharing with me, she started talking to a guy, and the man by himself confessed that I think he was either married or in a relationship. But he by himself came forward to make that confession within a couple of days because she had taken that man to God. So you cannot discount the value of being in partnership with God through your dating process. Now, when you're dating men that don't want to marry you, you need to be able to see the relationship through the eyes of what God is showing you. If not, you are going to waste time. Something else I want to say is, you cannot make God change his mind. Let me say that again in case you don't understand. You cannot make God change his mind. If God doesn't approve of a man, he's not going to change his mind. What's just going to happen is you're going to push, you're going to pull, and you will end up just being hurt. It's not going to work. So what we like to do with our clients in Wife in Waiting is make sure that every step you take, you make sure you are walking with God. Whether you're talking to a man, whether you're going on dates, whether you're about to make a decision to get in a relationship. Because I like to make sure, like, my clients are not getting into relationships that are a waste of time and are not approved by heaven, because that's not gonna end well. Something else that, and let me know if this is helpful to you, tap the heart. When you are dating men that will not marry you, let's go to the practical side of things. I just wanted to give you some angle some angle from the spiritual side, but let's go to practical side of things. When you are talking to men that do not intend to marry you, you will notice that they are not interested in what interests you. So what I mean by that is, maybe you're sitting exams, or you have a very big project coming up. They're not very useful. So I'm not talking about being useful only in terms of maybe, making sure that you have done your research or you've done your reading, but you will notice they don't ask you questions about things that are important to you. Like, how was your interview? They don't remember things. They don't remember the fact that you had an interview. They don't remember the fact that you have an exam. They don't even recall the fact that you are trying to maneuver a particular situation at work. They don't ask after how you are coping with any stress from the office. They just don't recall because they don't care. Now, it's important to be able to pick that up in a man as soon as possible. But what I've discovered is a lot of you are jumping into relationships so quickly that you don't do enough vetting to make sure that you are actually committing to the right man. This is why I advise my clients to give a 90-day window before commitment. Because in those 90 days, 90 days is a long time. In 3 months, you're going to see a whole lot of things. You're going to see what he looks like when he's angry. You're going to see what he looks like when he's serious, when he's unserious. You're going to pick up patterns, because no matter how much he tries to hide his true intentions, it is very difficult to pretend for 3 months. And it's very important. This is why you want to be walking with the Holy Spirit through this process, because even if he manages to keep that mask up, it is going to be difficult for you. You can't deceive the Spirit of God. So, you are going to see something that resonates with your spirit. And one of the ways we hold you accountable in Wife in Waiting is we have a private community where clients are able to ask me questions every day during weekdays, and I respond within 24 hours. So if they're talking to a man, all my clients know once you join the program, you're going to learn how to meet men, start talking to men, start going on dates. So as this is happening, my sisters, as we call ourselves, they drop questions for me inside the private Wife in Waiting community. They ask me for my perspective and my insight, and by doing that, you sharpen your ability to discern practically, so that even when you are not having a dream or you're not seeing a vision, you are able to pick up in the detail what the Lord is saying. Maybe from the way that man responded to a question, or from his attitude or his behavior, or something he did or something he said, or something doesn't sit right. The ability to discern becomes very real and tangible to you, because you're starting to be able to apply it on a day-to-day basis through the skills that we show you inside the Wife in Waiting program. And when you're talking to a man that will not marry you, it is very difficult for him to be able to go through this process without being caught. Let me put it that way. So, inside Wife in Waiting, our clients are not entertaining men that are time wasters. In fact, within the first 2 weeks, give or take, they already know when they're dating with a time waster. Within the first month, they can tell whether or not this is a man that they can build a tangible future with. They're going on dates within the first week and a half of talking to a man, because you don't want to be wasting time. And one thing a man that doesn't desire to marry you will do is he will waste your time. You will notice his language is a language of excuse. He will say, "Oh, I'm sorry that we can't go on a date because I've been so busy at work. They just fired somebody. Somebody else is unavailable. They just gave me a new project. I just moved to this area. I'm really struggling with something in my building. My landlord is asking for this, asking." You will just notice he's always coming up with excuses. For anything that requires making you a priority, he has an excuse. Something else that I want to tell you that you should know about men that are unserious, and mind you, I want to be clear. This isn't just, I'm not talking about men that are, maybe, maybe he's not working a job that you like. Maybe he's in a blue collar role. I'm talking about a man's character here. You need to pay attention to character. So I don't care if he's earning 6 figures or if he's earning, 4 figures, whatever the case may be. These are qualities that are common amongst all men that are not serious. So do not start promoting men based on his status. Don't say, "Oh, because I met him in the church, because he's a leader in the church, or because he has a really good job, or he's lived here for years, or I see he comes from an established background." You start promoting him. No, you need to put all men through the same filter, because you are dating to marry your husband. You are not dating to get distracted by a man that looks good on paper. But unfortunately, that's what a lot of you are doing, which is why inside the Wife in Waiting process, what happens is every month, we like to make sure that our clients are on track in making progress to actually meeting their spouses. So you shouldn't be in Wife in Waiting. Through the program, you will be making tangible changes in the way that you date. You will be making tangible changes in the kind of men you speak to, the kind of conversations you're having, the kind of dates you're going on. Your discernment will become sharper. It happened. I love this because I see it in real time with my clients. Maybe they come into the program and they're not as good as picking up men that are unserious, and then within 2-3 months in Wife in Waiting, they're able to pick it up quickly, and I'm able to even coach them on deeper things, because this is actually what's going to get you married, okay, to the right man. So you don't want to say, because he comes from a good background and so on and so forth, let me just manage. Because what you are managing is going to become a very big problem in another 3 months. He's going to leave you emotionally distressed. You're going to have to be dealing with all the trauma that and the triggers that man is going to leave you with. So it's best to handle it up front by vetting properly. So, back to what I was saying, you want to make sure that you are looking at men through the lens of the same filter. Spiritually, what's the Lord telling me about this man? Emotionally, do we align with values? Physically, do I find him attractive? Financially, is this somebody that I can build with? If he doesn't fall into those filters, that man is not your husband. I don't care how nice he is. This is not about being nice. Because you know what's interesting? When you think you're being nice, have you ever seen a man lose interest? He doesn't care about being nice. He will disappear from your phone. He will disappear from your texts. He will disappear from your circle. So it's important for you as a woman to put your priorities first. Forget being nice. Dating isn't about being nice. Dating is actually about meeting your husband and getting married. I'm not saying you need to be rude. I'm just saying you need to be diligent in your dating process. So, when you're looking through the filters of men you are contemplating, you want to make sure that spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, there is alignment. Because if there isn't alignment, that thing is not going to work. It's just a matter of time. And one of the ways we make sure our sisters are dating our clients, we call ourselves sisters, like I keep saying, are dating men that are actually in alignment to getting them into the relationship that will lead them to marriage, is looking through those filters and making sure that it is as specific as possible to what they want. So some of you, your problem is you are using the filters that your sister used. Your sister wanted a guy that was a banker, that lived in her area and so on and so forth, and she met a guy like that. So you are saying, I also want a banker, I want a man that lives in my area. But the problem is that is not your blueprint for marriage. So it's important for you to know your blueprint for marriage so that you are not following somebody else's blueprint, because it's not going to work for you. Marriage is a very specific journey. So inside Wife in Waiting, what we do is every single sister has her own unique marital path. Yes, there are some things that are common, just like as a woman, we all have similar things that are common. We all go through, at some point, we all go through a menstrual cycle. We all ovulate, we all have the same body parts, so on and so forth. But we are all different as well. We have different personalities. We have different interests. We have different areas that we're called to do work in. We have different circles of friends and so on, and areas of expertise. It's the same with dating. There are general areas you will go through to get married, which is what the Wife in Waiting curriculum is actually outlined with. You will be single, you will meet men, you will go on dates, you will get into a relationship, you will get engaged before you get married. Every woman that is going to get married is going to follow that journey. So the Wife in Waiting program is actually, the curriculum is broken down along those general paths, but in each part of the curriculum, there are very specific lessons to help you understand what does it look like for you to be single? What does it look like for you to have conversations with men to let you know if he's serious or not? What does it look like for you, Tammy, to know when a man is the kind of guy you should go on a date with? What does it look like for you, Kate, to know if this is somebody you should enter a relationship with? What does it look like for you, Jane, to be able to know if it's time for you to be able to see this man as your potential husband? That's how specific you want to get. So when I say dating men that you will not marry, it's important for you to know the kind of man you will marry, so that, because it's not enough to say, he has a good job, he talks really nice, he smells really good, I think he's attractive. Your marriage is a ministry. As long as you're in this space, you're in Fan the Flame, you're working with me, God has sent you to my channel, I know your marriage is a ministry, because that is the work that I'm called to do, to show women into the marriage that God has called them to enter. So I know your marriage is a ministry. You may not be aware, but I'm telling you, your marriage is a ministry, which is why your journey needs to be honored. So when you don't want to be dating men that will not marry you, and you definitely don't want to be dating men that you will not marry. So it's not enough for a guy to say he's interested in you, he wants to marry you, you also need to know if this is a man that you can marry. And that needs to take account of where you are in your journey, what God has called you to do. You know, are you a single mom? Are you divorced? What were your experiences in your last relationship? What has God told you about your future relationship? What kind of kids are you raising? Because you are the covering over their lives for a period of time. So you need to know who is the right partner to steward that journey with. So there are dimensions to this that you need to understand in your dating process to make sure that you are not wasting time with the wrong men. And the mistake I see a lot of women make is you don't understand this, so you always end up at a dead end. Your dead end could be talking to a man for 6 months, no relationship, or God scatters it in the next 1 year. But guess what? The past 12 months, you've been building on a very rocky foundation. So it's important for you to be able to ask yourself, what does it look like for me to date a man that I can marry and a man that God has actually called me to partner with in marriage? This is why inside Wife in Waiting, we're very clear about making sure that our clients are following a very clear strategy around how to show up online, how to leverage their in-person connections and routines to be in position to start meeting the kind of men they can marry. Every single step you take inside the program is intentionally thought through and thought out to make sure that you are actively making progress towards meeting men you can marry, which is why our clients are able to also quickly tell when they're looking at a counterfeit. They're able to quickly tell when they're looking at a man that has potential, or they're looking at a man that is a distraction. So when you're looking at your dating process, I also want you to do an audit and ask yourself, over the last 6 months, what are the patterns that I've seen with the men that I've dated? If you're not seeing any men at all, your problem is visibility. That's the summary of it. If you are seeing men, but you find that you are never being asked on dates, you're not getting into, or you never go on a second date, your problem is connection, something around communication, connection, being able to consistently show men that you are interesting or inspire desire for them to pursue. There's something there that needs to be fixed, which is part of what we do in the program. And if you're struggling with your relationships lasting, you are choosing the wrong men. You're getting into relationships with the wrong men. There's something around your vetting process, your decision-making process that needs to change. Okay, it's like, I'll give you an example for this last one. It's like if you keep going to the same store and anytime you go there to buy food, the food always tastes expired. You shouldn't be going to that store. The decision that needs to change is you need to go to a different store. So applying that analogy to your dating process, there's something about your decision making that you are not taking into account before you enter the relationship that you need to really start paying attention to. The beauty of the Wife in Waiting program is I do this for you. I help you through this process. I fast track your ability to be able to see what's wrong, see what you need to do differently, and guide you on actually putting into a place a strategy that is fruitful and you can see tangible results from, which is why our clients are not getting into the wrong relationships, are starting to date men that actively align with the kind of marriages they want. Do we have any questions from what I've said? If you're watching this live and you have questions for me, drop it in the question box. I have roughly another minute or two before I have to hop off this live. But if you're interested in the Wife in Waiting program, you're a single Christian woman, you're struggling with dating, meeting men, your relationships aren't fruitful, you're finding it difficult to actually get men to see you, ask you out, pursue you intentionally, or you're being ghosted, you're struggling with communication with men, then Wife in Waiting is actually the right program for you. We fix all of that in the first 30 days because what happens is once you come into the program, I give you a very clear dating plan, which is my way of showing you this is what needs to be fixed, this is how we're going to fix it, and this is what you need to do to start putting you on the path of meeting your husband, so that in the first 30 days, we have cleared out the cycle that has kept you stuck for the last 2, 3, 5, even 10 years, which is why, within a year, our clients are able to meet, date, and marry their husbands, because in the initial phase of the program, we are breaking you out of a pattern that you have been stuck in for years. So, make sure to click the link in my bio and first tab to apply if you're ready to start the journey of Wife in Waiting to get into a committed relationship in the next 6 months. Now, to kind of wrap this up, you want to ask yourself, what is it about this man or the men I've dated that is common? That's the first thing, because whatever is common between them is something you need to adjust. It's kind of like if you've noticed that the food in a restaurant always lacks taste, you know that they have a problem with seasoning, okay? Because that's your common experience with any food you order there. So in your dating, whatever is common amongst all the men you've dated, that's something you need to fix. If all the men you've dated break up with you after 2 months, there's something, maybe you jumped into the relationship too soon, or you chose the wrong guy, or you didn't pay attention to the process of actually being in the relationship, there's something there that needs to adjust. But in summary, when a man doesn't want to marry you, that relationship is not going to work. It's just a matter of time. And usually you'll be able to tell within the first month whether or not his intentions are serious, because in the first 30 days of talking to a guy, he should have been consistently calling you, texting you, and taking you on a couple of dates. That should happen, except there is distance, and in which case, if there is distance, he should still be making an effort to keep in touch with you throughout your day and to create opportunity for you to connect, even if you're in different time zones. So inside Wife in Waiting, what happens is we give you a very clear picture of what to expect at each stage of the process of talking to men. You will know what to expect within the first 72 hours, quite literally, of talking to a guy. You will know what to expect within the first 2 weeks. You will know what to expect within the first month, 2 months, 3 months. You will know what to expect in the 6 months in a relationship. And this is how we make sure our clients are dating healthy, available, emotionally consistent men that they can build relationships with that lead to marriage. Now I'm gonna round up by saying you're not a special snowflake. You need to understand that dating should be simple. If you're finding it difficult, then there's something in your process that needs to adjust. Now, if you want my help on this, just click the link in my bio and first tap to apply for Wife in Waiting. I'll look through your application and we'll have a chat if you're the right fit, and you'll be invited into the program. If you have any questions for me about Wife in Waiting, feel free to send me an email or DM me, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Take care. Bye.